Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I am Heather with Rose Hill Paper Cottage, and this is my design team project for Chapter 1 papers. And today we're creating some really faux tag pockets, which will make a little bit more sense later. I chose the Victoriana kit. It's a newer kit of theirs, and it's just beautiful. The florals are stunning. So I printed out 2 of the florals onto linen paper, and it just has that little texture that you can see up close. But they're just stunning. They're absolutely gorgeous. And then I printed a couple onto cardstock paper. So these 2, like card style images, but they have so many other images. So, there's lots of different things that you can use in this kit, to create like some different color combinations. But it's just stunning. Another thing that I grabbed was some book pages. I love to add those, when I'm creating, different projects. And then I also grabbed some embossed papers, and I just used a variety of different embossed papers. I've embossed ledger, I've embossed, paper packaging, I've embossed some, wallpaper, like the vinyl type wallpaper. It looks beautiful. And then I just grabbed some like full size, ledger and some music pages. I love using these elements. So we're just going to use like just, a few little elements to kind of collage onto a card. And it's just going to be absolutely stunning. Sometimes simple is just even better. And then I'm using as my base just an old file folder because I have a ton of them, and I don't want to just throw them away. But you could use cardstock or whatever, and really you could create, different items with this, which we'll talk about. And then to match my project, I just grabbed some different, ribbons, different sari silk, that sort of thing. And then I'll decide all that later. But when I start a project, I like to just kind of grab everything that I think I might use, and then just pick and choose from that so that I don't have to go and, grab different things, throughout my creating. Although sometimes that still happens. And then I'm just using a Beacon's glue here, which is like, the Fabri-Tac, Fabri-Fix. I just have a small bottle. And then hole punches, for whatever size that, whatever you like to do for your hole punch. There's a crocodile. There's also just like, I have a couple different varieties of, different hole punches. So just grabbing those. And then hole reinforcements. I have plain tea-dyed ones, and then I have ones that are tea-dyed and stamped. But, you can also create your own by using like a circle punch, and then some distress ink. I use Vintage Photo a lot, and I'll talk a little bit more about that too as we get into the project. So for the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these down to the size that I need. And this could vary, just depending on, what size that you want to use for your project. So because this is going to be a faux tag pocket, so it's going to look like a tag, but it's going to be a pocket, then I can, do some fairly decent, sizes. But I'm really just kind of like cutting the file folder in half and then cutting that into quarters. And they don't have to be the same size. That doesn't really matter. So you see all my pieces there. And then the next thing I'm doing is just to make these easier to handle, the floral pages, I'm just, going to tear those in half. And that just makes it easier as I'm working through my project. I just love these. These florals are they're so pretty. Wait till you see it all together. So I'm just starting with a book page, just choosing it, really super simple, way of just kind of like layering some things. And so I'm just taking the book page on top, and then I'll add the floral on the bottom. So just doing a nice covering of glue. And then there you see the floral. And then I'm just picking an image for the top of it. So there's a lot of different things that you can do here. And I created some a little bit of a different way. you can kind of create like a little tuck spot so that you can have, other things tuck inside. You can actually stitch this on to be a pocket or glue it. Or you can completely stitch it down, so that it doesn't move, it's completely just flat. So there's, several different ways that you can do this. So I'm just, trimming them up. That's kind of all like self-explanatory of, whatever image that you have, if you want to distress them, if you'd rather tear than cut. I use my little chopper a lot. And then sometimes I age things later. Sometimes I like them the way that they are. I'm kind of like curving my little corners here. But you don't have to. If you ink the corners, they'll kind of blend in anyway, so you don't have to do the rounded corner if you don't want to. I mean, that's what's great about crafting, right? You can do whatever you want to do with your project. And I always kind of like tend to ink, not necessarily to age all the time, but I definitely ink after cutting just because there's that white core, that goes through the cardstock. And so it just kind of like helps to blend in, with the project. I do, still age, in some spots and everything like that. But the main thing is just to tie it all together. So here I'm really just kind of like tying the whole entire project to make it look like it's one unified piece as opposed to two individual ones. I think I noticed that was a little crooked, so I decided to trim it a little bit. So here I am kind of aging the corner a little bit, just like, wanting to make it look kind of natural. I also think aging, sometimes will make things really pop out as well. It really draws your attention into the center elements. But these are just so beautiful. And I'm mixing colors. I'm mixing, some of the florals and things like that. That's just really the look that I'm going for. I love this ledger paper. I think I have some in my shop still. This is like from 1870s, I think. And it's really like thick paper and very white still, which I find really interesting. And it's a huge sheet, but it embosses really, really well. And I love it. And so when I create this one, it's just so pretty. It just looks so good. So I'm deciding here if I want the embossing over the top or the floral, underneath or over the top. And a lot of times when you emboss things, especially thick things, it's easier for the embossed piece to be on the top. That way you don't create ridges, because obviously the paper that I printed the florals on is a thinner weight paper than that ledger piece. So I'm just getting that kind of lined up to maximize the majority of that print. And then I'll add that ledger to the top. Using the reverse side too of embossing is beautiful as well. So I will sometimes do that. I don't know if I do it in this video, but it's a great time to kind of like play around with things that, you think might look good or might work or whatever. It's a great way to just, kind of look at some different looks. Now with these cards, you could cut them in a tag shape if you wanted to. I left all of mine, square at the top, but, you could put on a decorative edge. But once you see, where I put the bow in and all that kind of stuff, I don't know. I think square it just looks better to me. So I'm just doing a little bit of light distressing here just to unify the pieces together. Little bit of aging in a corner. Kind of do that sometimes where I just age a little bit in a corner. And it's so beautiful, especially once that card on top is placed. It looks so pretty. So a lot of times when you're trying to decide, what element to put on top, I usually just kind of, lay things there, and there's just things that just kind of catch your eye a little bit more. And that's how I choose things a lot of times is I'll lay different things and all of them would work, but there's just one that just has that little bit of extra something, that catches your eye, and that's the one that I end up usually choosing. So now I've moved on to using one with ledger paper, or I should say creating one with ledger paper. And I'm just trying to decide, do I want the floral on top, on bottom, what looks good? You just don't know sometimes until you actually, put things in place, and then, something just kind of clicks and you're like, yeah, that's what I'm going for. So I'm super generous with my glue. A lot of times I would use like a glue stick in this because of just being, like a more uniform glue. But because I'm kind of using some heavier papers, it just seems that the beacon glue is a little bit, better for that. Um, and so that's kind of why I chose that. But use whatever glue works for you, whatever you like to use. And then I think I put the floral on the top here just to kind of vary things up, make things different. If not, I'll do it on another one. But I think I do. I think I put it on the top of this one. I mean, even though I'm making, kind of the same style, they all have their own individuality is probably a good word there. They have their own, uniqueness to them. They're not all the same. Not that that would be bad to do the same, but I just kind of want, a little bit of variety. I want to show you a little bit of, some different looks here. And I just love that. So this card here, I decided that I was going to kind of like not use all of it on the front. And I just really ended up liking how that looked, and with that pop of like, aqua teal, color. I really liked that. So what I've done here is, sometimes when I can't totally decide, I'll kind of move on so that I'm still like continually creating. And then as you go, sometimes things kind of make sense and it just kind of flows better. And so I've kind of gone back to this because I've decided, that is the one that I want on that card or pocket, I should say. These will all become pockets. like little, like corner pockets is what they'll be, but they'll kind of look like they're a tag. And then again, some will have tuck spots, some will be completely sewn down, some will have a pocket on a pocket, some will be a double layer, which you'll see later as well. It'll make more sense. So I've created just some like aged looking tape. And so I'm going to add that to this card here. I just felt like it needed like a little bit of something extra. And that glue that I'm using is art glitter glue. And I like to use it for fine applications like this. So you see me thinking, and I'm like, oh, you know what? This might be better if I actually put it around the card. It's kind of funny, like watching yourself back on a video and then, seeing the decisions that you make and how you make them. And you got to see that one in real time there. So here's several of them. I've kind of, jumped the video forward a little bit, because a lot of that is, the same repeat over and over and over again. But you can see them all. You can see here I'm just, I'm choosing the reinforcements that I'm going to use. A lot of times I glue the reinforcements down just to make sure that they're secure. I also filmed this like over a couple of days, I think. And so, when you go back to like edit a video and stuff, it's sometimes hard to remember, what you've done and where you're at. So if it seems a little bit choppy, that's why. It's because I filmed over a few different days. I sure am putting a lot of glue on that. I kept thinking, am I done yet? Am I going to stop? So here I just took some of the paper and glued it to itself, just to kind of give it a little bit of like substance. And then I just have this like, little punch that makes, whole reinforcers. I just preferred having, for whatever reason, it just, I didn't care for just the plain, reinforcement on this one. And I still feel like the punch, the We Are Memory Keepers punch, it just kind of makes the reinforcement a little bit smaller than just like the average one. So what I'll do is I'll double it up, and it just, it's barely a difference, but for me, and looking at it, it made enough of a difference to double it up to have just a little bit more of a rim on that reinforcement. So totally not, a step that you have to do. It's just the way I was looking at it. It just needed it. But looking at it on camera, I don't even know if you can see the difference whatsoever. But that's just how it is. And I just love the more colorful reinforcement there as opposed to just using like a tea-dyed one. I mean, you can make a whole reinforcement out of anything. So I'm just kind of getting this trimmed up, and then I'll choose one of the florals. And I think pairing, the floral with something that's a little bit more, I don't want to say plain because, there's music paper and ledger and writing and all that kind of stuff. So they're not really plain, but they're more on the neutral end. And so even though they're interesting and they create that interest on these, they're more kind of in the background to allow the floral to really shine and stand out. And they just become, just so, somewhat mesmerizing really to look at once you see them all, done with their bow and everything. I mean, they are just stunning. I'm shocked I made them. They're just so pretty and they're so simple. That's what I love about it. There's nothing better than a good, simple project. And this is definitely one, that to create, especially if you're not feeling incredibly inspired by anything, or, you have limited time, and you just want to craft. I mean, this is perfect for that. I mean, I printed out like 4 digitals, and then, just I'm using just stuff I have around. So I'm just doing a little bit of a light aging here. Deciding if I like it. Trying to perfect the aging now. I think this is another day I picked up again. And now I have actually, stitched them. So, and I'm picking ribbon. I think I'll show it more up close at the end of how I like stitched them. But a lot of them are just stitched on the side. Some are stitched all the way around, and then I do create a pocket. So right here, I'm just choosing the different sari colors, something that I think will match. And, this takes time. So I don't show all of it, but, you're seeing some of it, like how I kind of like just lay them next to the ones, that I think that they might look really good with. And then I kind of trimmed them all the size that I need. And a lot of times the way I figure that out is I'll do one of them and then I'll undo it and then I'll kind of measure that for the next bow to kind of, just have less waste. So is that not adorable or what? Oh my gosh. So the little card has purple in it and I just thought that purple, sari was so pretty. So here you see, I've kind of worked my way across doing a bow over and over and over again. And they're just, oh my gosh, it's just like the sprinkles on the cupcake, it just made them. They're so cute. It just added that little extra. I just think they're so adorable. I just love them. I love the colors. They're so pretty. So stunning. So the one above my hand right there, that's kind of at the tip of the scissors there, that one actually has a pocket sewn on it, and you can see like a little ticket sticking out. I'm really trying to remember right now as I do this voiceover if I show them all up close. I hope I did. So that one I stitched around that whole entire tag. That's what I'm saying. And I put a little bit of washi tape at the edge of that. And then that one's an actual tuck spot. So I do go through them. Oh, good. To make more sense. So I'm just kind of showing some different ideas. So these could totally be tags if you wanted. But these are going to be pockets for me. So they're, obviously large. Probably 4 or 4.5 inches wide, maybe 4. But they just look so cute. So I have the tuck spot like on the other side on this one. And then I'm just going to show it with just like a random like book page that's going to be, put in there. I mean, it just, look how cute that is. That's so cute. It doesn't really take away from anything. It just looks good. So cute. And this is the one that I created the little pocket on the top. Is that not adorable? Oh my gosh, I love this one so much. I think it's so cute. So stinking cute. So this one I had, I did the label. They have the label as well. And I'm showing where I did a double pocket. So this is perfect for Happy Mail. So I'm kind of showing like if you had like a journal page, or the front of your, your inside journal cover, or if you were going to create some Happy Mail, you could cover the outside of that. And then you've got this cute little pocket. So I'm showing the little double pocket, and I would sew it on the side and the bottom, and then you can stick things in it. So it looks so cute. And they just really stand out on any kind of like neutral background. But you could continue on with like another floral if you wanted. And this is from one of their other kits. I can't remember offhand which kit it's from. The background paper that I used. So I'm even showing how I kind of made like a little smaller version, tag. Just having like another, tag in there too, or another little card for a little pop of color. Just some different variations, but like how cute would that be for, your pen pal, or to just create some Happy Mail for someone? I think that would be so adorable, and just create like a small little closure. So there's lots of little options.